Now, restrictions are lifting in parts of the country today, the first steps toward gradual reopening. Each province, as we know, has a bit of a different approach. We are joined by Terry Fikowski in Calgary, Jaden Lee Lincoln in Regina, and Rob Laurie in Saint-Sever, Quebec, all with CTV News. Let's start with CTV's Terry Fikowski in Calgary, who's joining us now. Walk us through what is reopening, and good morning to you.
Good morning, Lindsay. Well, reopening today are non-urgent surgeries that were put on pause due to the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as routine eye checkups, some dental offices, social work can continue, as well as speech pathologists, among some other businesses. Now, this is part of stage one of Alberta's three-stage plan to relaunch the economy. Now, a lot of these businesses, though, saying that just because they can open today doesn't necessarily mean that they will be. We spoke to a number of dental hygienists in Calgary who said that they currently don't have enough PPE to follow some of the health restrictions and guidelines set out by their own respective colleges. However, Alberta Health says they are working with them to get that sorted underway. As well, over the weekend, we saw a number of golf courses open. They were allowed to open over the weekend as well, with some restrictions, as well as provincial parks that were allowed to open, people out enjoying some hikes. As I mentioned, this is just part of stage one of Alberta's three-stage plan. The date to look out for is May 14th. On May 14th, if we continue to flatten the curve and these public health restrictions continue to prove to be successful, we can expect other things to open, including restaurants and pubs at 50% capacity, things like barbershops, hairdressers, other retail stores, of course, all having to follow these continued social distancing rules. And Premier Jason Kenney also reminding people that even here in stage one, as we begin to relaunch the economy, there is still a limit on those 15, a limit of 15 people.
Hey, Terry, thanks so much. So that's happening in Alberta. Let's go now to Regina, where we are joined by CTV's Jaden Lee Lincoln. Jaden, good to see you this morning. Saskatchewan released its reopening plans and then made some changes. So where are we at today?
Well, Lindsay, quite a few changes made in that revised Reopen Saskatchewan plan. For one, the way golf courses will operate has changed. So in that first plan, it stated that you cannot rent out golf clubs or golf carts. Now you will be able to rent these items out, but businesses must clean them thoroughly before, in between uses. And that, in another instance, the way retail centers operate will change. So in that first plan, it stated that change rooms will not be allowed open. Now people can try on clothing. Change rooms will be open, but again, cleaned thoroughly in between uses. And then refund and exchange policies have also changed. So before, stores would not be able to accept returns. Now they can accept returns, but they must be disinfected thoroughly and then actually isolated for 72 hours before being able to return on store shelves. And then finally, we got some clarification on when barbershops and salons open up. So in that first plan that we did receive there, it said it wasn't very clear on it. Now you are able to get a wash, a cut, a color, and a styling, and that happens in phase 2 on May 19th. So many people in the province excited for that.
Jaden, thanks so much for bringing us those details. Lastly, we are joined by Rob Laurie in Saint-Sever, Quebec. Rob, good to see you this morning. Walk us through the difference in the reopening plans for Montreal compared to the rest of Quebec.
Well, good morning, Lindsay. As you know, Montreal is definitely the hot zone in Quebec, and so its reopening plans are going to be slightly delayed compared to the rest of the province. We do know that the reopening kicks off today, and so that's for stores, retail stores outside of the Montreal area. They'll be allowed to reopen today, as well as some of the roadblocks to some country, to some cottage country, will also be lifted today. Stores in the Montreal area, in Greater Montreal, stores with an exterior door, they will open next week. And next week also, we know that schools and daycares will be reopening in the rest of the province of Quebec. In Montreal, that's delayed for another week. We also know that next week, manufacturing will be reopened in Montreal and in the rest of the province, although with a limited number of staff there. And so far, the question that everybody's asking is, when are hair salons going to be opened? still no determination on that just yet.
And Rob, I want to ask you though, Quebec, when we look at the numbers, has the highest death rate from COVID-19 in the country. So what is the government saying to those people who say, wait a second, it's too soon to even think about reopening?
Yeah, there has been a lot of apprehension here. You could see it on social media. The premier has been hearing it. He said all along that his plan is to restart the economy without restarting the pandemic. But he has been very, very cautious in his tone. He says, look, if people don't respect physical distancing rules or if the situation gets worse, he is open to pushing back the reopening, especially in Montreal, by a few weeks if he has to, he says. But clearly that's something that he doesn't want to do.
Rob, Laurie, we appreciate your time as well. Thanks so much.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.